الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. Tamam. So we're back, alhamdulillah, from a break. Let's jump into the phrase mining activity for today's session. So we've all read today's passage a few times, right? But like we always do, before we jump into the phrase mining, we always do this listening comprehension, right? So let's just close our eyes and pay attention to the passage as you listen, and then we ask you for the score at the end, right? So close your eyes, inshallah. لديك أصدقاء كثيرون على الفيسبوك يا حاتم؟ فعلا عندي أكثر من 300 صديق على الفيسبوك. وما كل هذه الصور؟ هي صور لي مع أصدقائي وأسرتي. أين صور أسرتك؟ هذا أبي، هو رجل طويل وهو عامل في مصنع سيارات. وهذه أمي، هي ربة بيت، وهي امرأة متعلمة وماهرة في الطبخ. هل لديك إخوة أو أخوات؟ نعم، لدي أخ كبير وأخت صغيرة. هذا هو أخي، هو متزوج من امرأة إسبانية ويعيش في الخارج. وهذه هي زوجته كارمن. هذه البنت القصيرة هي أختك؟ نعم، هي أختي هند، وهي طالبة في مدرسة ابتدائية. لديك أسرة لطيفة، أرجو أن أقابل أسرتك وأتحدث مع أبيك وأمك وأختك. مرحبا بك في أي وقت، البيت بيتك وأنا سعيد بزيارتك. تمام. Open your eyes inshallah and let me know your scores. Alhamdulillah. Jamil. 100%. Well done. Okay, others? Jamil, mashallah, very good, very good. Some of these things, of course, they need exposure, as I've said. Alhamdulillah, so 100%, 95%, they're all the same to me at this stage, mashallah. It's really, really good, alhamdulillah. Okay, so let's jump into the phrase mining for this passage. لديك أصدقاء كثيرون. So if we just remove out of Facebook, لديك أصدقاء كثيرون, do you have many friends? Now, if you just want to ask someone, do you have any friends? لديك أصدقاء كثيرون. وهل لديك أصدقاء كثيرون? So this is a passage that will come into your Facebook as it is. Okay, if you want to, you can use this to say, okay, do you have many books? لديك كتب كثيرة. هل لديك كتب كثيرة? Okay, you see how we can use that, inshallah? تمام. هل لديك أقلام كثيرة? Do you have many pens? هل لديك, I don't know, anything that you want to say, right? This is something that's you're calling something personal, something that is relevant to you. So you think of 3, 4, 5 different things that you probably want to ask someone. Do you have this? Do you have many of that? I mean, perhaps even if you want to ask someone, I mean, we covered this already in the daily phrases, but if you just want to ask someone, do you have this? من فضلك, please. هل لديك قلم أستخدمه من فضلك? Do you have a pen I can use, please? And so on and so forth, right? ولو سمحت. So this is a phrase. طيب إن شاء الله. أصدقاء كثيرون على الفيسبوك. على الفيسبوك, على تويتر, على إنستغرام, and so on and so forth. Okay, so على Facebook. So you can say, for example, you can make a sentence out of this to include this as a phrase in your phrase books. So say, for example, لدي أصدقاء كثيرون على الفيسبوك. I have many friends on Facebook. لدي أصدقاء كثيرون على الفيسبوك. Okay, or you can say أنا على الفيسبوك. نعم, I'm on Facebook. If someone else asks you, are you on Facebook? Or are you on Instagram? Or are you on Twitter? You say نعم, أنا على الفيسبوك. Or ideally you say no, I'm not on Facebook. Or no, I'm not on Twitter. But just to get the phrase into your Facebook. So أنا على الفيسبوك. نعم, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. تمام. And this one is a good one. فعلا فعلا, indeed, yeah. So if you think of scenarios where you would want to use this kind of response to someone. For example, if someone says to you, say you had like 8 siblings, right? And someone says, you have 8 siblings? And you're like, فعلا, no, indeed. What's wrong with that? فعلا, right? Perhaps someone says, so someone gets to know that you read like 1,000 pages a week, right? And like, oh, do you read 1,000 pages a week? Is that real? You're like, فعلا, alhamdulillah, فعلا, right? So these are scenarios that you can, inshallah, these are phrases, right? So فعلا is a phrase. You can think of scenarios, inshallah. Think of 4 or 5 different scenarios in English. Get them into, use ChatGPT for perhaps. Get them into Arabic. And then put all of that, include the English and the Arabic, into your phrasebook. طيب. عندي or لدي, we've done this already. Okay, inshallah. You can make a couple sentences, a couple phrases in English. You're trying to target عندي and then include that in your phrasebook. عندي أكثر من 300 صديق. So this is a phrase, right? So take that and include it as it is in your phrasebook. عندي أكثر من 300 صديق. I have more than 3 friends. Okay, how would you say I have more than 400 friends? عندي أكثر من 400 أو 400 صديق. Okay, if you want to say I have more than 500 friends, عندي أكثر من 500 صديق مثلا, right? So think of, challenge yourself to, okay, how can I say this differently, slightly differently? Okay, I have these many books. وعندي أكثر من 300 كتب. Okay, I have more than 300 books, perhaps, right? So you take one phrase and then you use it or change it slightly in different ways, and then you include all of that in your phrasebook. So you're inshallah building the usage of a phrase, of a word, or a structure in different ways, and you're exposing yourself to that. طيب, inshallah. Okay, وما كل هذه الصور? And what are all of these pictures? وما كل هذه الكتب؟ وما كل هذه الأقلام؟ وما كل هذه السيارات? Do you see what we're doing over here? We're taking this as a phrase and replacing the object or the subject of this, and then thinking of scenarios where I can use it in my own speech. نعم. And then when we repeatedly expose ourselves to our phrasebook and we recall the Arabic of the English that we test ourselves on, right? You hide the Arabic and you always, look at the English, don't say it out loud, and then test yourself on saying it in Arabic. Okay, inshallah. So that's how the activity goes every single day. Tamam. Moving on. هي صور لي مع أصدقائي وأسرتي. هي صور لي. هي كتب لي. That's a phrase. هي كتب لي. هي أقلام لي. Okay. وهذا كتاب لي. Right? This is a book that belongs to me. Okay. So, you can say this is my book, or you can say this book belongs to me. That's the only difference between the two phrases. Okay. هذا كتابي. This is my book. وهذا كتاب لي. This book belongs to me. تمام. هذا قلم لي. This is my pen. Or this pen belongs to me. هذا حاسوب لي. تمام. هذا هذه الغرفة لي. هذا البيت لي. Okay, inshallah, this is a phrase. You pick it out. You replace the nouns, and you keep using the structure. So you of course you have to change the pronoun at the beginning, huwa, hiya, or hada, or dhak, inshallah. Of course, the pronouns, all of these will be covered in the 1,000 words, but because we're just exposing ourselves to the basic structures of Arabic with this, inshallah. So think of, okay, how can I say this belongs to me or that belongs to me? So to come up with, like, for these small structures, you can come up with, like, 8, 10 sentences, different things, right? And then you use the, inshallah, do the exposure, translate them into Arabic, and then include all of that into phrasebook, and then revise them every day. Okay. Technically, what will happen is phrase mining from all of the week's lessons will probably take you one solid session of 2 to 3 hours, roughly 2 hours. I think you can easily do it in 2 hours, because you are using translation tools. But the thinking of, okay, 5 sentences. And what the interesting thing is, you can also ask ChatGPT, give me 5 phrases that uses this word in, or this structure in, right? And it will give you those sentences, and then you can include them as it is. So it really speeds up the process, inshallah. Tamam. ChatGPT has been a game changer for language learning, honestly, subhanAllah. When I was learning Arabic, we didn't have these tools, in the beginning. But we had Google Translate, but Google Translate wasn't as good back in the day. It's quite good now for all common day language, but it wasn't as good back in the day. But Google ChatGPT is quite nice. Technically, it's very, very advanced in its language model, so you can rely on it for your basic conversations. And even advanced conversations, I'd say, any daily life conversations, translation of news articles, understanding, reading. So it's very, very helpful as a tool. Inshallah. And it saves you a lot of time initially, because you don't want to spend too much time looking up dictionaries, because you don't have the skill set to actually open up an Arabic dictionary and benefit from it at this stage, because you need sarf for that, ilm sarf. But secondly, it takes time, right? It takes time to open up a dictionary every time, type in a word, and then wait for its meaning, and then trying to make sense of, okay, so which meaning is more relevant to this passage. But if you use these tools, it saves you a lot of time, and that's the goal. We want to make the process as easy and smooth as possible, streamlined as possible in the beginning, because you don't want to give up in the beginning. That's the main rationale behind it. Tamam. So moving on. مع أصدقائي أسرتي. I'm with my friends. أنا مع أصدقائي. Or هو مع أصدقائه. How would you say he is with his friends, or she is with her friends? So take this phrase and then use it in different ways. Replace the pronouns at the end. Replace the people. هو مع مشايخه. He's with his teachers. He's with his مشايخ. تمام. He is with his uncle. هو مع عمه. مع. So use the word مع, with, and use it for different people, different scenarios, inshallah. And think of okay, how can I use it in my. The key point of the phrase mining is that it has to be relevant to you. This is why we're not giving you. There is going to be some form of audio recordings of the phrase book, the rough phrase mining that we'll do, inshallah. You'll have the recordings for that. But phrase mining as an activity, it is your job, because the language has to be relevant to you. Whatever phrase you do, it has to make sense to you and has to be usable in your daily life. Tamam? So you have to put in the work, inshallah. Right, so أين صور أسرتك? And we've used this أين a lot already. So أين أخوك? Where's your brother? أين أبوك? Where's your father? أين أمك? أين كتابك? أين كتبك? Where are your books? أين أقلامك? Where are your pens? And so on and so forth. So أين. So we've already done أين a lot. But if you want to do a bit, a few more reps of this, then go in and inshallah do this. Anyway, هذا أبي هو رجل طويل. So رجل طويل, that's a phrase. هو رجل طويل. How would you say she is a tall woman? هي امرأة طويلة. Okay. هو فتى طويل. He's a tall boy, right? Young man, tall young man. هو فتى طويل. So replace this. Inshallah, use your imagination, use your creativity to think of sentences where you can use the same structure and you use it for different people. Tamam? And the rest is trusting the process. Every single day, you do the recording practice and you listen to the audios and you listen to the audio phrase book. Over time, you'll see, inshallah, over roughly 2 weeks, but it could take you more than, depending on how many reps you're doing every day, but it could potentially take up to, 40 reps to 50 reps. So depending on how much you listen, it could be a month or a month and a half, roughly, right? Inshallah. وهو عامل في مصنع سيارات. Okay, now that's the phrase. وهو عامل في مصنع سيارات. هو عامل في مصنع سيارات. Okay, well, how do we say he's a worker in there's car factory. Where else is there? There is you can think of what other factories are there? There are factories for, I don't know, mine's gone blank. What other factories can you think of? Factories of, clothes. Okay, that's fine. So think of, how can I say he's a worker in the clothes factory, in a clothing factory? Okay. How would you say he's a worker in X, Y, and Z? Okay, then other than factories, can you think of offices or companies? So there's a difference between a factory and a company, right? So what's the word for company instead of masna? It's sharika. So you include the word sharika and then try and think of sentences that you can make with company. Tamam? Okay. هو عامل في مصنع سيارات، هو عامل في مصنع ملابس، هو عامل في شركة um, let's say the car company, شركة السيارات, and then that would include, that would mean that he has a white collar job because he's now in a company and not just in a factory, right? So he's not just an employee or a worker, but he's more of a white collar job or blue collar job where he works behind a desk. Either way, they're both slaves. Anyway. وهذه أمي هي ربة بيت وهي امرأة متعلمة وماهرة في الطبخ. Okay, هذه أمي هي ربة بيت. So now this is a good one. هي ربة بيت. أمي هي ربة بيت. My mother is a housewife. Right? أريد أن أكون ربة بيت. I want to be the ربة بيت of my house. Right? ربة بيت. I want to be. A sister can say that proudly, inshallah, that I want to be the ربة بيت, the lady of my house, the queen of my house. Right? ربة بيتي. أريد أن أكون ربة بيت. I want to be the ربة بيت of my house. تمام? So this is, you can think of other ways of using this word. تمام. وهي, and of course the thing is, the rationale behind this is you can't think of every scenario that you can possibly ever come across in your real life. It would be silly for us to assume that you can imagine all possible scenarios. So don't overburden yourself with thinking that you need to think of all possible scenarios. Of course, you can think of some good, solid scenarios of using the phrasing. But what happens is, even if you just include this phrase and say a couple more, perhaps, right? In that scenario, when it does arise in your life, you'd be able to extract this from your mind because you've already stored it, inshallah, you've practiced it many times. You'll be able to come up with something relevant for that situation. Tamam? As you read more, as you listen more, and as your phrase bank grows, you'll be able to address inshallah, the situation in front of you. طيب. هي امرأة متعلمة وماهرة في الطبخ. You can just extract this as it is, inshallah. هل لديك إخوة أو أخوات? So that's the way of asking, do you have brothers or sisters? هل لديك إخوة أو أخوات? So just think, you can sort of extract that as it is as well. نعم لدي أخ كبير وأخت صغيرة. لدي أخ كبير. How do I say I have a younger brother? لدي أخ صغير وأخت صغيرة وأخت كبيرة. If you have an elder sister, so you play with the words. So لدي أخ كبير, لدي أخ صغير, لدي أخت صغيرة, لدي أخت كبيرة. تمام إن شاء الله. So نعم لدي أخ كبير. هذا هو أخي هو متزوج من امرأة إسبانية. تمام. How do you say he's married to a Pakistani woman? هو متزوج من امرأة باكستانية. How do you say he's married to a German woman? هو متزوج من امرأة إلمانية. How would you say he's married to whatever so you can think of inshallah nationalities and then add it onto it. طيب, what else you can do with this? You can say you can do it for the female. هي متزوجة من رجل إسباني وبريطاني. So you can turn the gender around and use it for the male. تمام. ويعيش في الخارج. He lives abroad. Okay. And then, as I said, you can do it for, he lives outside the country. يعيش خارج البلد, يعيش خارج المملكة, or يعيش خارج الدولة. Whatever specific country that its structure is, whether it's a kingdom, whether it's a republic, or whatever the case may be. تمام. يعيش في الخارج. That's a phrase. يعيش في الخارج. Just take it as it is, inshallah. وهذه هي زوجته كارمن. وهذه هي زوجته. وهذه هي زوجه. وهذا هو أخوه. So you've done this multiple times. So you can, if you want to include this, it's up to you. But there's no need to. I think this is pretty clear, inshallah. هذه البنت القصيرة. البنت القصيرة. طيب. ابن قصير. A young boy. Sorry, a short boy. رجل قصير. مرأة قصيرة. Alright? To replace the people and the respective sizes, perhaps their lengths, the heights. Okay. Right. هي طالبة في مدرسة ابتدائية. That's a phrase for you, right? And okay. What if she was a student in high school? هي طالبة في مدرسة ثانوية. So inshallah play with that, okay? مدرسة ابتدائية, مدرسة ثانوية, طالبة في كلية, she's a student in a college, في هي طالبة في الجامعة, she's a student in the university, and so on and so forth, okay? Is everyone following inshallah? Just last 2 sentences before we end the session. لديك أسرة لطيفة. Now that's a phrase for you. Take it as it is inshallah. You have a lovely family. لديك أسرة لطيفة. Okay. Okay. Next phrase is أرجو أن. I hope to. And then think of, okay, I hope to read this book by next week, or I hope to write 100 words today. Or you can keep it small. For example, I hope to sleep early today. That's simple, right? That is simple, inshallah. I hope to be a good Muslim, bidnillah, or good Muslima, bidnillah, tamam? I want to, and so forth. I hope to, I want, right? So I hope to, right? Not want to, I hope to. So arju an, tamam, inshallah. And think of, I hope you're all right. I hope you're good, right? Arju annaka bi khair, right? That's actually quite common. People, Arabs use this quite a lot. So, and then there's another arjuk, right? There's another way of saying arjuk. But anyway, that is different. That takes on a different meaning. But anyway, to play with this phrase, inshallah, arju an, tamam? Okay. Uqabila because of the an, the la. Fatha is because of the an, but if you remove the an, it will be uqabilu. Uridu an uqabila. I want to meet. Uridu an uqabila. Arju an uqabila. Right? Sa'uqabil, I will meet. Okay? أقابل أسرتك. سأقابل أسرتك. I will meet your family. سأقابل أصدقائي. I will meet my friends. سأقابل زوجتي. I'll meet my wife. Right? لأول مرة, for the first time perhaps. Whatever you want to, just play with the phrase أقابل and replace the nouns at the end. طيب إن شاء الله. Right. وأتحدث مع أبيك. أريد أن أتحدث مع. I want to speak to your father. Okay. أريد أن أتحدث مع أمك. Oh, I want to speak to your mother. طيب. I want to speak to your friend. أريد أن أتحدث مع صديقك. فاهمون إن شاء الله? You guys understand? This is how you go about phrase mining. This is something that is going to be done entirely by yourselves once we've done this initial phase of exposure to the Arabic language. So make sure you are, fully clear on the idea of how we phrase mine. Tamam, inshallah. Marhaban bika fi ayyi waqt. That's a phrase, just take it as it is, inshallah. Al-baytu baytuk. That's a beautiful thing to say to someone. So al-baytu baytuk. Okay. Wa ana sa'idun bi ziyaratik. Or surirtu bi ziyaratik. So once someone has been and they're leaving, you say to them, surirtu bi ziyaratik. It made me happy. Your visit made me happy. Surirtu bi ziyaratik. Okay. Your visit made me happy. Okay, inshallah, tamam. So that's the end of our third session for today, alhamdulillah. That is how you phrase mine. Make sure you're diligent with your phrase mining, at least, in a long session, one day a week after the lesson, perhaps this evening. And then you can, inshallah, just revise over the next 4 days. Tamam, inshallah. That way, you have 1 day of diligent activity and the rest is just easy, just revising, just reading things again and again. And it will just be super quick, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. Okay? Because revision, of course, is quicker than doing this initial activity. Tamam? Okay, so this is the end of our phrase mining session for this passage. And is there anything else? No, so inshallah, everything else will be conveyed to you in your weekly tasks. Bi'idhnillah ta'ala. Just make sure that you are making time for your studies. If you're finding difficult to sticking to your all 5 goals that you've decided for yourself in your health, soul, time, XYZ, right? Let the health, the family, and the wealth. If I say to you, okay, these things don't concern me at the moment, and let's say it doesn't concern you at the moment because all of you are surviving. Let's say we want to let's sort of leave these things aside. Can we, as a group of students, inshallah, commit to just one thing, and that is doing our due diligence with this course every single day? right, of the week. Whether it's your revision for this or your Quran halaqa. Okay, inshallah. If you do nothing else, I'll be, of course, I want you guys to progress in all the rest of your goals, inshallah. But I can tell that focusing on all 5 goals is not possible for all of you. Tamam? So perhaps, right, simplify your lives, simplify goals. Don't focus on all 5. Focus on just one thing. Focus on your studies. Let everything else be, just deal with it as it comes. Of course, with health, it's much easier because all you need to do is just, sleep properly, fast and walk. Right? If you can just do your fasting hours, that doesn't take much brain power, and you're walking every day, then that is inshallah bi'idhnillahi ta'ala enough at this moment, and it's probably enough for the rest of your life as well. But of course, keeping in mind the rest of the types of exercises, perhaps you want to include this, but maybe that can happen later. It doesn't have to happen right now. If it's difficult for you to do all 5 things, just get rid of everything. Of course, you're still going to be reviewing. You're going to be sending a weekly review of all those things at the end of the week. But as an active focus, automate things. Let your health take care of itself by fasting and walking every day. Done. Okay, inshallah. Okay. With your family, just have a time, dedicated time when you're not working, and your family can come to you and disturb you. You don't have to make it active or anything else if you're finding it difficult to focus on all those goals at the same time. Okay, so family, wealth, and health, just leave them to aside. Let them take care of themselves if you just follow those basic principles of fasting and walking, and letting your family come to you whenever they want to. And wealth, of course, you don't if you're already doing whatever you're doing, just keep doing it, inshallah. And on the weekends, whenever you have time, give it that time when it's due, not outside that. What I want to see is, inshallah, if just one thing that you're focusing on, it has to be this course. I mentioned this even before we started. People sometimes think that I can do this and that, I can do this, I can do multiple things at the same time. But really what ends up happening is they don't do anything at all in anything. They don't progress, they don't go anywhere with multiple things happening at the same time. Okay, which is why I said just this course, if you can just please do your due diligence with this and nothing else, inshallah, you'll achieve great things, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, right? But if you take this as a secondary kind of a priority, and you give time to other things which are surely not going to take you as far because they're not planned with that purpose, right? It's going to be very, very disappointing end, because after a few years, 1 year, 2 years, and you think you realize, oh, I should have just stuck to this because the studies have become difficult now, and others who will stick to the course, who will stick to doing the daily work every day, inshallah, they will find that over the period their learning will become enjoyable because they've been doing their due diligence. For those who don't, unfortunately, it'll be difficult. Tamam? So alhamdulillah, we end this session here, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And since today is a Sunday, we'll jump into our Quran halaqa right after this. So I'll see you guys, everyone, inshallah, next week for these sessions. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.